Yeah, there is some research out there that indicates that as long as they reach that targeted weight at the given age, that's probably the most critical thing in terms of achieving a high rate of cyclicity in those heifers.
And again, we've talked about the procedure, which is to essentially obtain a weaning weight, obtain a target breeding date and weight, and then I like to certainly test weigh those heifers at least one time during that period. If you want to do it in the middle, that gives you some time to either do something about it or separate heifers and feed groups that are not graining the way you'd like them to accordingly. Again, some research would suggest that it does not have to be a linear progression. On the other hand, a nice, easily managed linear progression is probably easier to see and manage for most people. If you've really got to push them at the end, you may or may not have the resources to do that. But again, some research indicates that pushing them at the end is just fine. Some other research might even indicate that pushing them hard in the beginning and letting them tail off at the end just a little bit works just as well. So there's a little bit of different ways to do that. The main thing is get them to where they need to be so that they are pubertal.
And remember that 65% that we talk about, that's not the average weight of that group. That's the minimum weight, because if, in my example, if we're targeting a 650-pound puberal heifer, and you use that as an average of your group, at least half of the heifers in that group are going to be below that and probably will have a lower probability of reaching estrus as a result. So that's really the minimum weight. We really want those heifers, as many of those heifers as possible, to be above that.
And when we weigh them, we want to weigh them as individuals if at all possible, because again, we run 20 heifers up on a scale and we've got an average, and that's often meaningless. If you don't have individual scales or ways to weigh heifers individually, at least try to sort them into very small groups by body size so that they're uniform, and weigh them 3 or 4 or 5 head at a time on a scale, and that's better than nothing. But I prefer individual weights if at all possible.